I'm Helen.
And I'm Liz.
And we're sisters,
Scientists.
and lifelong X-Files fans.
And this is We Want to Believe.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
Good. Yeah, good. I don't think I have any announcements or anything. I was trying to think about that. I know I want to do some more research about wormholes because I was listening to our episode where I talk about them, and I'm just feeling insecure that I could have said something wrong. Not wrong. Well, I don't know. I need to do some more research. And so at some point there will probably be a wormhole update coming because
Great.
I want to do a better explanation about wormholes. So for right now, if you're listening and you're a physicist and you're like, I've lost all respect for Liz. She said something wrong about wormholes. Just hang on and maybe you'll respect me again, just in case.
But now wormholes are theoretical, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But I
So-
mean, as far as like they're theoretical, but that doesn't make them like unicorns or something. Like it's like if you were like, oh, you said something wrong about unicorns, you'd be like, well, did I? But like, just because they're theoretical, there's still like constraints about how we think they develop and why we think that. And I know there's something called an Einstein-Rosen bridge, which I want to look into, which is something. The thing is, I didn't actually look into it. I just had these thoughts. So I was like, I need to
the wormhole
do the research and bring them
today.
Yeah. So this is more of a placeholder. The wormhole update is coming. And if you want to just learn more about worms, we do have an episode that addresses that in season 1.
That's true. No, that was this season, wasn't it? Fluke Man?
Oh, that's a different episode. I guess we have a lot of episodes that are kind of worm-based.
What's the other one?
I know we had one entitled Worms, Fact or Fiction in season 1. And I started talking about the town of Worms in Germany and how there was the diet of worms, which is not what it sounds like.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Great.
Oh, Fluke Man, I do have an update.
Oh,
yes. I'm so glad you said that. Last episode, I was talking about how the writer of that episode was Darren Morgan, brother of Glenn Morgan of the famous Wong and Morgan pair who write X-Files episodes. Darren, that last episode, Humbug was his first writing credit. It was not his first time on the X-Files, however, as he played the Fluke Man.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention that last time. And I realized it like as soon as it ended. So yeah, we've seen him before. He was the Fluke Man. Presumably.
That's awesome.
He looks more normal.
That's great.
Outside of work.
The idea of like, you are a writer for a TV show and you're like, we need someone to play a fluke woman. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, I know. Right. And then it's like, that Fluke person, they wrote a pretty good script. Like, I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. So we are talking about the Calusari, as they kind of later say.
Are you okay?
Yeah, this did not scare me at all.
Oh, okay.
Also, I have seen it before and it didn't scare me much then.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
There is the part that I can very well imagine being scared by. But like, I think there's a big difference between being 17 and watching something with the lights out at 10 p.m. versus being in your mid 30s, watching it in your office, taking notes,
Yeah. I do find the note-taking process sometimes draws me out of the episode a little bit. And so I often think maybe I'll take fewer notes, but then I'm like, if I don't take any, I won't remember stuff. And then I just find myself taking a ton of notes and
Right.
Oh my God. Okay. I've been like worried.
No, it was
been like, so, what have I done to her? Oh no. So, okay.
Well, it's interesting. I do have extremely strong feelings about this episode.
Ooh, oh no.
So strong that I got distracted and didn't look up any of the science I wanted to because I was so angry.
Wow.
Okay. So I have a lot to say, but it has nothing to do with science or demonic possession or being scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
what I recall is, I mean, not a whole lot. I remember the beginning where they're like at some like fun fair or something, and
Yeah.
like there's a bathroom stall, and the kid disappears, and it chases a balloon
Hmm.
and dies, and then I don't remember anything until we get some bearded men and a scene that looks like it could have been in The Exorcist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, I
everything in
remember.
between there is, oh, I remember a woman with an accent with brown hair saying, Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got.
That happens too.
Okay.
So it starts with a little boy watching a train at a fair. We later learn that he turns 10, so he must be
Oh,
9, which is the age of my oldest.
good
Um,
research.
yes. Yeah. I had to ask Zach
Yeah.
for that
No,
detail.
I pictured you more being like, all right, he's turning 10. Probably that indicates he's 9. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Um, and so he's watching a train at a fair, and it's like a small one, like kids can ride on, like one of the ones that goes around like a park or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And the parents call him over for some ice cream, and his name is Charlie.
Okay.
And his little brother, whose name we learn is Teddy, loses his balloon.
Oh God. Okay.
Um, and his mother, when the balloon flies away, goes, "Bye bye, going to Balloon Land," which I thought was really funny. The
Oh
idea
my,
that the
yeah.
sky is Balloon
The
Land.
sky is Balloon Land. Yeah.
Yeah. It also reminded me that at my 9-year-old's seventh birthday, he wanted a big number 7 balloon. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
I
And
do.
him and his friends were like knocking into it, like batting it around, and it came off of its tether and flew into the sky. And we watched it like go like forever, like
Oh
way high into
yeah.
the sky.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. To Balloon
he
Land,
was,
apparently.
yeah, to Balloon Land. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
just amused though.
Yeah.
Um, and so then the parents give Teddy, the little brother, Charlie's balloon instead, which
Oh,
is just a dick move.
it is.
Yeah,
Either buy him another balloon or distract him or
right,
something. Like,
right.
it's
Yeah,
not like if Charlie were like 16, then maybe.
yeah, right. Yeah,
If
but
you're
he,
past like balloon age.
yeah, yeah, you can no longer go to Balloon Land. Um, won't let you in.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Charlie's pissed off in a super creepy way. He's
Mm.
just going, "I want my balloon. I want," because his dad is like, "Oh, we'll get you another balloon." And he's like, "No,
Mm.
I want my balloon." But like he's not like whine, he's just like very deadpan and
Okay.
creepy.
Yeah.
So Teddy, the toddler, kind of falls in his ice cream that they have. And the mom takes him into the bathroom to clean up. And then she goes into the bathroom stall and she leashes him to the sink. So she has like a toddler
Yes.
harness that she
Yes.
then like secures to the base of the sink while she's using the bathroom. And while she's in there, we see him lose the balloon and it flies out the window. So Charlie's balloon, his new balloon,
Mhm.
he also loses.
The kid cannot be trusted with balloons.
No,
Clearly.
like,
Yeah.
stop giving them to him.
Yeah.
It's only going to end in tears.
Yeah.
Um, and then she gets out of the bathroom stall and he's gone. And so then we see, so she panics,
Yeah.
obviously. And we see him just kind of walking through the park, following the balloon and walking onto the train tracks.
Oh.
And they see him and, all run over trying to stop him, but it's too late.
Oh God.
The train can't stop.
That's awful.
Yeah. And then we see the balloon land right near Charlie. So like the
And
balloon
balloons
was
don't land anyway. Like that's not a balloon
no,
behavior. That's not how
no,
helium works. Yeah.
no. Mulder goes into that. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah.
Okay.
So we get the intro and then see Mulder talking Scully through the case in their office. And apparently the father works for the State Department, but it was the county medical examiner that called Mulder because he had seen a picture from the scene and was concerned because it looked like the balloon was floating sideways. So it was like a
Hmm.
picture from when, like a few seconds before the
Yeah.
accident occurred
Oh,
of like
okay.
another family, and the balloon had been like moving sideways.
Got it. As if it
And
was kind of like luring him, wasn't it?
mhm, yeah,
Yeah.
And Mulder makes a comment about, learning in kindergarten that, helium makes balloons fly up. And Scully goes, "Did you learn about wind in kindergarten?" Which I thought was great.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. But Mulder said he did think of that and talked to
Ah.
the weather service, but the wind had been moving in the opposite direction. So the balloon was
Ah,
going
okay.
against the
Yeah.
wind.
Yeah.
So they're talking to his friend Chuck, who is good at enhancing visual details.
Oh no.
And it's not that bad. It's more funny in like yeah, you're lightening the picture kind of way.
Oh, okay.
In this case, it's not
Like this is this specialist who
right.
can adjust the brightness on a photo or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Uh, and when he's enhancing the photo, it looks like there's a concentration of magnetic energy, apparently. This was some of the science I didn't look up. Although
I'm
if you'd like
sorry.
to chime
Is the
in.
idea that we could see okay, all right. All right, here we go. What? Like
Right. So essentially, it looks like there is a ghost holding the balloon.
Okay, that's a separate statement than concentration of
Okay.
magnetic energy.
Okay.
I mean, we can talk about energy being
Yeah.
stored in magnetic fields. That's fine.
Hmm.
If you are not also a magnet, you wouldn't care. It would not do anything. You need something to, magnetic energy is not going to do anything to, I don't know,
A balloon string.
my teacup or a balloon string. Yeah.
Hmm.
Unless it was charged. Now, balloons are good at building up charge, like static electricity when you rub them on your head.
True. This was very
And
much the string that was being
oh,
held.
no, 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 no. No. Um, sorry.
Fair. Yeah.
And I have
No.
a feeling that your anger is for like very righteous, legit reasons, and I just feel mad about the misuse of the word magnet. Um, so what creates a magnetic field and what experiences a magnetic field is moving charge, which is weird to think about sometimes because we picture like refrigerator magnets and those don't seem to have a current going through them. But like what's going on is on a mm, molecular level, all the molecules are aligned in what's called magnetic domains. And so
Hmm.
all of their little electrons are going rotating in the same direction, as opposed to in something that's
Oh.
not magnetized, like, I don't know, a balloon string or my teacup,
Uh-huh.
where all the electrons are orbiting in random ways. And so it kind of cancels each other
Oh.
out. And so we end up with a net magnetic field being created by all these little or all of these little molecules lining up in a magnetic domain.
Huh.
And so that's what's going on there. So,
Interesting.
so string does not do that. It is not a
Right.
material that can do that. Um,
Could a
and then
ghost, though?
could a ghost, I mean, the ghost, I guess, could, well, I mean, a ghost could do anything it wants,
Right.
I guess. It's a ghost, but I mean,
Back to
like,
the
I guess
unicorn issue.
right, exactly. That is the unicorn issue. Yeah. I think it would be it would have to go in and change the nature of the molecules that make up the string. Like it would have to not be
I
string
see.
anymore. It would have to
Hmm.
be, iron or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
Now the other thing I was thinking is again, like moving charge interacts
Hmm.
with a magnetic field, creates a magnetic field. So if you had like a bunch of static electricity on the balloon and the balloon was zooming along, technically
Hmm.
that is also moving charge. So maybe it could be affected by a magnetic field. It would have to
Mm.
be an extremely strong magnetic field, or it would have to, I think, or a ton of charge built up on that balloon.
Okay.
Neither of which really makes sense to me, and it definitely wouldn't make a hand hold it. But fundamentally, the main thing is, why would lightning a photo make a magnetic energy show up? What does that
Okay.
mean?
Well, maybe he does have technology we don't know about.
Okay, he's got that filter or whatever.
Yeah.
The like,
Hmm.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
The ghost
Yeah,
filter. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah. So Mulder and Scully go to talk to the family, and Scully kind of follows Charlie. She sees them walk out of the room, and she's going to talk to him. And she sees him talking to an older woman who is painting symbols on his hand. And the symbol is
Oh,
in red, and it's a swastika with dots drawn in like the corners or like the points where the
yes,
lines cross.
yes.
And apparently, the woman, the mother, the older
Mhm.
lady, had come to stay with them after Teddy was born, so about two
And
years ago.
she's the grandmother of Charlie,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. And as they're talking, the smoke alarm goes off, and then all the lights go off.
Hmm.
And the woman, the mother,
Hmm.
well, we're going to learn her name. Maggie is the, woman in her whatever 30s, the
The
mother.
mother of Charlie.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh, it's an old house." And I feel like I live in an old house. It wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Um, but her mom is concerned and is like kind of arguing with her in a different language. We later
Okay.
learn they're Romanian.
Okay.
And have you been to Romania? I can't
Not
remember.
yet. No, no.
Oh,
We
okay.
keep intending to go there and then it keeps not happening. But I really want to go to like some of the villages and the mountains and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
I'd also like to go to the Black Sea. They have
Oh,
like
yeah.
resorts and stuff. That seems cool to go to
Oh,
a resort, but like you're on the Black Sea. That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, that is cool. Then in English, she says, "You marry a devil, you have a devil child."
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa.
So,
Whoa. That's intense.
uh-huh. Yeah. Uh, so then we see Mulder in his office and he's looking at pictures of swastikas, which is funny to me. Like it looks like he's just like studying an image of one, which I don't know.
Ah,
Like,
right angles.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Scully comes in and he explains that it's an old symbol used for protection, which is true. And I
Yeah.
I was gonna maybe look up something about this, as we know I didn't. But also I don't know that there's that much more to it than that. I
Yeah, I
mean,
know it's
it's been
true. I know it's
used.
true
Yeah.
in like Hindu stuff going way
Yes.
back. And yeah.
Yeah. And so Scully tells Mulder that she suspects Munchausen by proxy
Oh.
because apparently Teddy, the baby, the toddler, had been
Hmm.
admitted to various hospitals 10 times in his life. He was two.
Oh. Oh.
And each time they couldn't determine a cause of illness.
Okay.
And so Scully also checked on Charlie's history, and he's also had a lot of admissions, but only since his brother was born. So
Oh.
Scully thinks that it's the grandmother when she moved in, that she could be the
Oh.
cause, and that apparently thinking the child is evil is one reason why she could be harming him. So
Whoa.
like
Oh my
that's
God.
that's Scully's theory.
Oof, I think Munchausen by proxy is just like the creepiest thing. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you followed all that stuff with Gypsy Rose Blanchard and all
Oh
that?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
horrifying.
it's creepy for sure.
Yeah.
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 So they then go to talk to the dad in his office. We later learn his name is Stephen at the State Department.
Oh, right. State
And
Department.
yeah. And he says that things have been strained since Golda, the grandmother, moved
Hmm.
in.
Okay.
And he says that he met Maggie while he was like stationed or working in Romania in 94. And no, that can't be right. It's got to be 84. I must have written that down wrong. It can't be
Yeah.
94.
Yeah. No.
And her mother was always against him and thought he was the devil.
Do we see
So
anything in his personality that seems like maybe he is the devil?
he was kind of a dick to Charlie with the
Oh.
balloon and like being
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like, jerky, but
Okay.
otherwise seems relatively normal.
Okay.
Yeah. And that apparently Golda is super superstitious, which now as I say that, it makes me think of in the office with someone, was it Michael
Absolutely.
saying, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Yeah. Which is just
Great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is super superstitious.
Yes.
I like that.
He
Okay.
is. Mhm.
According to Stephen.
Right. And apparently she also calls Charlie evil. And will
Ooh.
sometimes dote on him like she's afraid of him, which is
Ooh.
also creepy.
Man, that's not a good environment for your house. I don't know. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a good scene.
No.
Mm-mm. No.
And so Scully brings up Munchausen by proxy and
To Stephen. Okay.
yeah, to Stephen. And the guy says that he hasn't said anything, but he did worry that Golda could have been the one to sneak in the bathroom and let Teddy out of the harness. And he doesn't really have a good reason for thinking that, which is why he didn't say anything. But that's just
Okay.
like, I think he thinks it's possible.
Okay.
So they're at the house then, and we see Stephen and Maggie, the couple, arguing because Scully wants Charlie to talk to them, to interview with them with the social worker present. And
Mhm.
Maggie's worried that they'll take him away. Charlie, they want to interview
Oh, okay.
Charlie. Yeah.
Okay.
And Golda is cooking, and Scully's kind of in the kitchen. They're basically just all listening to this couple argue.
Oh,
And
Lord.
yeah, and she sees Golda put a packet of something into the soup. So like she's got like a packet of herbs maybe that she puts in
Okay.
there.
That doesn't
And
seem that weird to me at all. That
I
seems
know.
like,
I mean,
I don't know.
it would be weird if you pulled it out of like your apron pocket and it was like a folded paper packet of herbs or something that you then put in the soup and
I
then refuse.
guess. Oh, and then refuse to.
So I mean, maybe you would think it was weird though in that case.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, probably. I guess it's reminding me of when we flew back from Atlanta after visiting our friend Manasa, and I had a baggie filled with oh, was it oregano? It was oregano, but it was in
Oh,
like a different sort of shape, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get stopped for sure for this because this looks like drugs for sure. And it was not an issue, but I think you
uh,
got stopped because you always do.
yes,
Um,
I do.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, I have what looks like a baggie full of drugs, and it's fine. So,
But because I apparently look like an Eastern European terrorist,
yeah, you have
they
dark hair and you dress nice, and I think that's suspicious. I mean, I think we've talked about this that like you have black hair and like look unusually elegant, and that draws the eye. And I
hmm.
look like a regular American slob, and I think that that is okay then.
um yeah, our country's great. Uh
Awesome. Yes.
um so she put something in the soup and Scully is kind of like, "Hey, what do you got there?" And she just
Yeah.
kind of talks to her in Romanian and is dismissive, and that's that.
Okay. Okay.
And so finally, Stephen is like, "Listen, we're gonna go talk to this woman." So right. So I don't see particular signs of him being evil. He seems like a responsible father in that,
Okay.
he's like, "No, let's go have Charlie talk to them."
Yeah.
And so him and Charlie are just gonna leave, and they get in the car, but the garage door won't open.
Hmm.
And so the dad gets on a ladder to try to fix it. And suddenly the door starts working and it sucks the
Oh
guy's
my
tie
God.
up into
Oh my
it and
God. Oh my
kills
God.
him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Hmm.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Things are not
And
good over there. Oh boy.
right. And Charlie is very distraught. So it doesn't seem like he was
Fair.
doing it. But like,
Yeah.
how with the
Oh
balloon
yeah.
situation
Yeah.
and
Gotcha.
yeah, no. So he seems
It
very
doesn't seem like he
upset.
did it or something. Like,
Correct.
okay.
And Mulder and Scully were leaving the house at this point, and they see what's happening, and they run to try to help, but the guy dies.
Oh my God.
So
Is
later,
that like how tight are ties? Like, do I not? I guess it's possible. I don't know how a tie works.
I mean,
I guess as it's pulling, the knot is getting tighter.
yeah, I guess,
It just makes me want to carry a little pair of
mhm,
scissors everywhere. I don't know.
yeah. I used to have one of those things that would stay on your keychain that like can break a car window,
Oh,
and
cool.
cut a seatbelt, one of
Hmm.
those little tools.
Yeah.
And I think about how I should get one again. And that's the end of the
That's kind of where it
story.
stops. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if it could cut a seatbelt, it could probably cut a
Cut
tie.
a tie. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Once I tested it out and it really hurt. I was like,
Wait. Tested it out on what? On what do you mean it really hurt? Were you
so,
like,
okay.
does it cut skin? Better make sure it cuts skin.
So it's got like a small U-shaped part with a blade so that you could like slide kind of like an
Oh.
envelope. No, not like an envelope cutter. Well, like some brands of envelope cutters. So like you could slide a piece of paper or a seatbelt through it to cut it. But
Okay,
then,
gotcha. It's not like
yeah,
scissor blades. Okay.
right. But then the part that breaks, and that I'm very familiar with looking at a blade and not touching one.
Good. Good.
Yeah. Uh, but the other part is like it has like a little hole with a button you press and a little metal thing pops out to break the window. So that's like the
Okay.
window breaking part of it. And I was like, well, there's no way this is going to break a window. Like, how is something I'm going to press with a button going to break a window? And so I tested it on my finger and it hurt.
Why? But
I don't
let's
know.
say, oh my God, like I could see testing it on something. I don't know. I'm in no position to judge. And an
Yeah.
ongoing argument in my house is whenever Adam sees me carrying scissors, he gets mad at me because I carry them with the point facing up towards me.
Oh God. Why?
I don't know. It feels right. It feels like the safe way to just like hold them upside down pointing towards
Jeez.
me, and I just do it sort of automatically. And every time he's like, "Please, you have to stop it. If you trip and fall, you will stab yourself." And
Oh my
I
God.
just keep forgetting. And so then I'll be like, "All right, how do you want me to carry them? Like this?" And he'll be like, "Any other way."
Yeah.
So
Just point the blade away from you. It doesn't matter
yeah,
how.
yeah. So I can't judge that much, but I also feel like, well, I guess like I'm glad it works. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. It
Like a
works.
spring sort of mechanism or something? Or
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And it didn't cut me. It like bruised me really badly.
Ooh,
Like, so it
interesting.
like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, we should get
Neat.
those again.
Yeah.
So,
So he
right. So
dies.
he
So that's
dies.
not good.
No.
Yeah.
And so the police are at the house and they show Scully that there's a room that they found with like a bunch of candles, um, an animal sacrifice,
Oh,
small
God.
bottles of things everywhere. It's very witchy,
Okay.
There's lots
Mhm.
of, yeah. And Mulder is meanwhile out looking at the garage door, and Scully comes out to talk, and he tells her that he found some ash present at the scene that's apparently everywhere. So, like
Oh,
on the garage door and on the car underneath it, there's like all this ash.
okay.
And so Scully says she's going to call social services to get Charlie out of the house. Very reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're talking, the garage door opens and we see Golda and Charlie, and then two men in suits with big beards, which is
Okay.
probably what you're remembering.
Yeah, I remember the beards.
hmm And so back at their office, Mulder told Scully that the ash didn't contain anything organic or inorganic. Uh,
Um,
and that according to the lab, the ash should not exist. This is what I was going to look into most specifically. Um,
yeah.
except I don't think I need to because I think the answer is this can't be a thing. So, like,
Like, okay. Chemist listeners, please let
yeah,
us know. But my understanding is that organic molecules, and Helen, you took way more chemistry than me. Organic
yeah,
molecules are carbon based.
yeah,
Inorganic molecules are not.
yeah.
So that's everything.
hmm Yeah, that's
So,
my understanding as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
hmm
What
Yeah.
just, yeah. All right. So,
Yeah.
what?
So they take it to
Okay.
Chuck. They take it back to
Ah,
Chuck at the University of Maryland. And he says that he had seen it before when he was in India in 1979, and that it's called Holy Ash, and that it happens when things are like conjured, essentially. So he apparently saw a guru create a meal out of thin air, like just conjure a meal.
God, I'm
Um,
so hungry right now.
oh
I'm
no.
like, I was sitting here thinking, should I ask Helen to pause it so I can run down and get a granola bar? But man, it would be awesome if I could just conjure one. That would be, you
I
know,
mean, if you can conjure food, do something
convenient.
better than a granola bar, right?
Well, I figured maybe that would take less energy. I would generate less ash or whatever. Yeah. No, I think if I could conjure a meal right now,
Mashed potatoes.
I'd probably conjure some Indian food, actually. Speaking of
Oh,
India, I think I'd
yeah.
conjure aloo gobi and rice and maybe a samosa. Oh God, I'm so
Oh,
hungry. What
God.
have I done? Okay. All right.
I just want someone somewhere to find me some gluten-free samosas. If that is the only thing that comes out of having this podcast, if someone can find me gluten-free samosas somewhere, that would be amazing. I cannot
If
find them
you
even on the
can
internet.
find Helen gluten-free samosas, you can be a guest on our podcast. That's what we
Yeah.
have to offer you. You can be our
You can
special.
name my next dog. I would love some gluten-free samosas.
I'm trying to think about like the weirdest possible choice that someone could have to name your dog. Like, what would they do with that power? I think gluten-free samosa would be a pretty funny name for a dog.
Yeah. Call him
I think,
Sam.
oh, I mean, samosa would be a real cute name for a dog,
Yeah, it would.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Scully responds to that by saying, "Too bad you didn't bring your camera. You could have run it through your computer and seen the entire Last Supper,"
Ah,
which I thought was clever. So we see, and that's it. That's as far as the ash goes, by the way.
oh, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we see Charlie eavesdropping while Golda and the men with beards are chanting in the chanting room with candles and a sacrifice, etc.
Okay.
And the social worker shows up to talk to the family during this time. And Maggie, the mom, lets her in. And when she enters, they both hear Charlie cry out for his mom. And so they run upstairs and he's collapsed on the floor outside of the room. And we see smoke coming out from under the door. And Maggie, opens it to see the chanting, etc.
Okay. Hmm.
And Maggie tells her mom to get out of the house. And the men and Golda, they respond in Romanian. Golda grabs Charlie and then locks the mom out of the room. So she like pulls him into the room and locks it.
Got it. Yeah,
And she
yeah.
had a knife on her.
Oh
And so
boy.
the social worker goes to meet Mulder and Scully, who are pulling up at that moment, and says she's already called 911, but tells them what's going on. And we hear Charlie saying, "No, Nana."
Oh
And the woman is
God.
like stabbing the air in the room.
Okay. Okay.
And she
Yeah.
then goes after Charlie and is
Oh
crying and
no.
saying it's the only way.
Oh God.
Yeah. But then we see Charlie suddenly calm
Hmm.
and he throws live chickens, at his grandmother, who is now collapsed on the floor. And he's just like totally calm now.
Okay. And we don't
Uh-huh.
see the transition
Mm-mm.
from. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the police are on the scene, and Scully has talked to Charlie, and he says he doesn't remember anything. Apparently, Golda is dead, which, like,
Golda's
poor
dead, you said?
Maggie. Yeah, she has lost
Yeah.
her toddler, her husband, and her mother in like 2 days.
God. Yeah.
Um, and it apparently looks like her eyes had been pecked out. Uh, and apparently there was ash underneath her body.
Oh, so there is more ash, but it's just not explained
Right.
or anything.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Mulder is poking around, and one of the bottles contains mugwort, he says, which I find kind of odd that he can just like smell a bottle and be like, mugwort. Sure.
Oh, it isn't
Um,
labeled? He's just
no.
like, oh, that's mugwort? Okay.
Yeah. And he says it's a ceremonial herb, which it is apparently used in smudging. Like, so
Okay.
sometimes people
Hmm.
use it for that.
I gotta
And
say, I feel like all of this is very like, look at how other religions and foreign people are scary. Doesn't it scare you how,
yes,
ooh, they have different practices? Ooh, scary. Like, uh-oh, a
yes.
room with candles. I don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
love it.
the sacrifices and the
Okay, I mean
knife.
no, 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 yeah. Golda's behavior is definitely scary.
Okay,
I
yeah.
guess what I mean is
Yeah.
more like they have a separate room just for some sort of religious purpose. I don't
Oh,
know.
sure.
Maybe it's because we
Yeah.
were just talking about it because I was mentioning when we flew back from Atlanta and I had that baggie full of oregano, but at our friend Manas's house, who is Hindu, they have a separate room for prayer and they have like candles and photos and stuff on a dresser and
Yeah, they
like
don't
that's not
leave
scary.
basins of blood out, though. I'm skipping over
No,
some of the more
okay,
gruesome
that's
details.
fair. And also, they don't even generate basins of blood.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
that they dispose of them right away.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the only thing that ever scared me in Manassas house, which is this big, beautiful new house,
Oh, yeah.
is do you remember, was this me and you? We were sleeping in the spare room, me and
Hmm.
someone, maybe you, maybe me and Amanda, and there was a picture of I don't know if it was her grandfather or her husband's grandfather, an older man, very serious looking. And I swear to God, when I went to bed, it was hung on the wall. And then the next day, it was propped up on the nightstand next to me. And I was like, did he move during the night? I
Oh,
swear
no.
that was on the wall.
That was not me.
Okay.
When we stayed with at Manasseh's house together was when I got mad at you while trying to fall asleep because you were breathing.
I was breathing too loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ironic that I then married someone with sleep apnea.
Ooh,
Uh,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
that was karma coming
Yeah, I
around.
think it is. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so
Anyway,
there are
okay. So
some,
so it is
yeah,
alarming. It
yes,
still feels like the fact that they make it alarming is definitely like they're drawing on a
yes,
sort of fear of the other, you know?
yes. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. Yes,
Okay.
there is definitely a like, oh, they're Eastern European sort of
Yeah.
vibe, you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, that I totally agree with.
Okay.
Yeah, but
But yeah, no,
you would not want someone to have this room in their house. Just trust me.
gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is not like Manasseh's prayer room.
Okay.
Um, so downstairs we see the older men talking to Maggie, to the mom in Romanian, and she's mad at them and telling them to leave. And one of them says in English, "There's still evil here."
Oh.
And Maggie tells Mulder and Scully that they're the Calusari, and says
Yes.
that in Romania they were responsible for the supervision of different rites and rituals.
Okay.
And so Mulder goes out to talk to them as they're leaving, and the guy says, "The evil that is here has always been here and is gone by different names: Cain, Lucifer, Hitler. It does not care if it kills one boy or a million men," which
Oh.
obviously made me get sympathy for the devil stuck in my head.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
I thought you meant it made you have sympathy for the devil just for a second.
No,
Um,
no. Let's be
I
clear.
also want to share that I decided to just do some quick research since this is apparently a thing. I'm like, oh, the Kalishari, is this real? Um, did you look it up at all? Did you look it
No,
up?
this again, I'm about to get really angry. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
not
Well,
me.
before we get to the
Yeah.
anger, let me just
Yeah, yeah.
say they are part of a fraternal secret society
Ooh,
that practices a ritual acrobatic dance.
no kidding.
Yeah. And
These guys
so
were not dancing. There was
yeah,
no
and
dancing
it
involved.
originated in Romania, but it's also in
Hmm,
Bulgaria and North Macedonia. And from 3 weeks after Easter until Pentecost, they go to local communities and they dance, and they've got costumes that are pretty awesome looking and
cool.
cool, very cool hats with like
Ooh.
thing on the top.
Oh,
Um,
their hats were just like top hats, kind of like traditional,
Yeah,
I don't know if
no,
you'd call it a
these
top
are
hat,
like, I
but
mean, these men are like younger. They're acrobatic dancers, it looks like.
man.
And their hats remind me of there's this guy in our Derby League who has a helmet with like a fake mohawk on it.
Oh yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
it reminds me of that. It's got like a fringe that goes that way on it on the
Ooh.
hats. Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Like a
yeah.
gladiator's helmet.
Yes, but
Cool.
fancier. Yeah, but like more
Neat.
fun. So anyway, a
Oh
secret
man.
society that does dancing. So anyway, that is the thing, and that seems pretty cool to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That
Yeah.
we could have crafted a whole different sort of episode if that had been involved. One
Man.
kind of riffing off of the last one, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
With
absolutely. Traveling to
yeah.
different towns and
Hmm.
yeah. Hmm.
So they go to talk to Maggie then, and she says that she thought maybe her mom was putting a curse on her for a while for abandoning her beliefs and going to America
Hmm.
when she met her husband. But says that her mom was actually trying to cleanse the house of evil, and that she believed that Charlie was somehow responsible. Again, this poor woman.
I know. Oh my God.
So we see the social worker talking to Charlie in a room, and Mulder and Scully and Maggie, the mom, are all observing through like a
Hmm.
one-way glass sort of situation.
Hmm.
It's like a nice room, like for kids. It's not like a,
Gotcha.
you
He's
know,
not being interrogated.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he's insisting he wasn't there. Like she's like, what happened in the room? How
Hmm.
did, and he's like, no, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. And he says, it was him. It was Michael.
Oh my God, I think I remember some of this now.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
Maggie says, we never told him. We agreed upon it. It was our secret.
Oh God.
And tells Mulder and Scully that Michael was Charlie's stillborn twin and that they agreed to never tell Charlie about it.
Oh my
And
God.
that apparently Golda had wanted to perform a ritual of separation when Michael died, and that if they didn't, she said the dead would follow Charlie.
Okay, that's so shitty.
Yes. So this is when I got angry and all thoughts of research fled my head.
Yeah.
Um, so and
I'm mad. I have a lot of thoughts. Okay, go for it.
well, I'd
Yeah.
I'd like you to because my thoughts are very disorganized.
Okay, so
So
my first thought is
yeah.
the idea that if one twin dies, it's going to be evil and follow you around. I mean, that
Uh-huh.
happened to our mom. Our mom was a twin and the twin
Yeah.
died. And
Yeah.
like, it's not uncommon. That many people have like, oh, they didn't get this special Romanian ritual, so they
Yeah.
probably got an evil version of themselves that kills people.
Uh-huh.
That's ridiculous
Well,
and
I mean,
insulting.
to be
And
fair, you
yeah.
have seen mom magnetically control balloons. I mean,
Well, it does explain all of those incidents.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's and
Hmm.
like I also don't love that they're like, oh, it's this secret that we didn't tell him about. Like
Uh-huh.
that's awful. It feels like it's a shameful thing and also like a baby died and it's like now it's older and it's evil. That's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I have very similar thoughts. I
Yeah.
agree with all of that.
Yeah.
Uh, I will say the not telling him about it and agreeing, I feel like that's a little bit a sign of the times. That
Yeah.
I mean, there has been much
Although to be
more,
fair, our mom was older
right.
than
And that was,
that, and she was
yes,
told, yeah.
totally. Yeah.
But okay, but
Um,
that's fair.
right.
That was more of a
Sweeping
recommendation
things
then or
under
something.
the
Okay.
rug and pretending things didn't happen so
Hmm.
that,
Hmm.
you can go on with life, which is, we know psychologically a great way of dealing with
Yeah,
things.
right. In the same
Um,
way that people wanted to do that about miscarriages and stuff, and
right.
don't
Yes,
talk about it, whatever. Yeah,
totally. Yeah. Um, I also, so I have more thoughts. Um,
please.
and for anyone who may not know this, I had twins who died, one of whom was stillborn. And so I feel a lot of personal anger at
Yeah,
the portrayal too of stillbirth as this kind of like evil sort of what am I trying to get at? This is the disorganization of my thoughts coming into play. I
that's
didn't,
okay.
yeah. Um, this idea that it's this, you know, old thing that doesn't happen. And so because it happened to this modern woman, it's like this like catalyst for these evil forces, this sort of,
Gotcha.
like
Yeah, that's
um
ridiculous. Yeah,
right, this portrayal of, it being something like dark and uncommon. And I mean,
yeah,
it is uncommon, but it's also common enough that it happens.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
it's so this idea that, there's the kind of
They're like
evil association
associating
to
it
it.
as if it is like an old-timey bad luck thing or
Yes.
something, like the
Right.
equivalent of like I think there's
Right.
an episode later on in the X-Files where like a white buffalo is born and it's like, oh, it's an omen or something, as opposed to
Right.
like, you
Hmm.
know, a very sad, uncommon, but not never happening biological thing that happens. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Totally. Right. Totally. Yeah. And it reminded me a lot of Mary Todd Lincoln. I don't know how familiar you are with her story. Your face tells me you don't know where I'm going with this at all.
No, it's reminding me of when we were talking about hemophilia and you just said, like the Crown Prince of Russia. And I was like, just saying names. No, I don't. I know Mary Todd Lincoln, I think was she depressed? Was she crazy? Was she, I don't know, tormented in
That's
some way?
that is the question. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think that three out of her four sons died
God, that's
young.
awful. Yeah.
And then,
Oh,
her husband was assassinated.
yeah.
And so
In
she
a way,
like
she's got some stuff in common with Maggie,
totally,
with
yeah,
as far as really horrible things happening. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And she basically like refused to get over it. Like she like was like, nope, I'm still wearing black. This sucks. And like refused to
Yeah.
like observe kind of the traditional morning rituals of the day. Well, I mean, she observed them, but then kept on observing them.
Yeah.
Like she
Yeah.
refused to, kind of put that in the past or whatever. And so her one remaining son who lived to adulthood had her committed
Oh my
to
God.
yeah because he called her, you know, quote unquote crazy.
Oh,
And she was just depressed and grieving. And
God.
they put her in a psychiatric facility of some sort, whatever those were like in the day, which were probably really terrible from the limited amount I know of them.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I don't know, just this like I don't know. I feel like this all just brings me to be more angry at our patriarchal society that demonizes women who refuse to conform and not show their grief. And I'm maybe making too much out of that from the episode, but I don't like that it's like this, like, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't
I
like it.
understand. Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah,
I
don't
was
like it.
just thinking yesterday or something. I was reading something about so and so had 8 children, 5 of whom lived to adulthood. And I was thinking
Hmm.
about this idea that people I feel like used to say like, oh, back in the day when lots of kids died, parents
Yeah,
just didn't get as attached, so that and I'm like, no, they were just grieving. Like it's still
right.
horrible. It wasn't like
Yeah,
people were different back then and experienced emotions differently and they'd be like, ah, baby, what are you gonna do? Easy come, easy go.
right.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
no, like it's good now that it's not like that because it's devastating.
yeah, yeah. Yes, totally. So, Michael,
Yeah.
so at this point, Charlie starts seizing
Okay.
with the social worker, and they take
Okay.
him to the hospital, and they're not sure the cause of the seizure. Which I actually just listened to a great talk by my coworker, the neuroscientist,
Hmm.
about her epilepsy research yesterday.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I made note in my notes of like, maybe Rachel can look into this. Um, Ghosts, new cause of seizures.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and so he's in the hospital and he's fighting the nurse because he doesn't want a shot. Um, you
Which
know,
I was just reading
fair.
some stuff about that
Oh,
there's a doctor who is like, we need to not traumatize children about needles, like
oh,
for a lot of reasons. And he
yeah.
has this like protocol of what you should do when a kid has to get a blood test or a shot from the
Oh,
very start so they aren't afraid. And I'm like, I need to start doing this myself. I got to get blood drawn next week. I'm also going to take a Valium, but they didn't recommend that.
yeah.
That's fine. But that you should put like lidocaine or something topical on it. Why did that never occur to me? Why don't we do that?
Oh my God. I don't know.
And that you should give them a sweet so that they're focused on that as well, so that they have a
Right,
different
beforehand.
sensation.
Why does it have to wait until after?
Yeah, like during is what they said. And if
Yeah.
it's a baby, you should have like a pacifier dipped in sugar water or something like that. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
sweet and distracting, and that you should never hold them down, that they should sit on their parents' lap or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Um,
Yeah.
and that, yeah, lidocaine, sweet, and physical comfort. And there might have been one
Okay.
other piece of protocol. And they talked about how they're trying to get this out in the medical community, but that it's also something they want to share with parents because they know realistically not everywhere is going to get that memo. And so I'm going to
Yeah.
go in with that plan myself when I
Yeah.
have to get blood drawn next week.
Yeah. That's great. William is super
Yeah,
afraid of shots.
I
And so
don't
this
blame him.
is.
They're so scary. Sorry. I mean, it's fine that I say that because you shouldn't be letting your kids listen to our podcast
Yeah.
anyway. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
really good information.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why not be eating the sugar while it's happening? It also seems
Right.
like a good idea because what happens to me when I have to get blood drawn is I freak out, freak out, freak out, and then my
Hmm.
blood pressure drops and I start to almost pass out. And they were explaining to me last time this happened, when I was getting a pneumonia vaccine, that like because I started freaking out so bad I almost left and then I didn't, and it was just
Hmm.
it was not great. Um, that like something, again, I'm not a biologist, but something about when you're recovering from that freaking out, your system uses a bunch of sugars or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so that's why like I always they'll bring me an apple juice and that usually helps. And like it seems like beyond the distraction, if I were eating the sugar during the incident, that's even better. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
there we
totally.
go.
Yeah, that
So
makes
yeah.
sense.
So
It's
yeah.
and I think that's why there's that like not superstition, not old wives' tale. Tradition, I don't know. Where they say that saying, where like, tea with lots of sugar is good for shock. That,
Yes.
when you have,
Oh.
yeah. Hmm.
Sometimes I think about that when I'm just like upset about something and I'll have tea with lots of sugar and I feel like I'm
Yeah.
in an old British novel and I just saw
Yeah.
like something that scandalized me. Like,
A woman's ankle,
yeah, I was gonna say
perhaps.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hussy. Um,
Yeah.
I yeah, one of the things that the doctor was saying is that we need to like that there's this normalization of children's fear and that we need to
Hmm.
try to not normalize that. And there's ways nowadays to get around that. And I think that's so smart.
Wow.
And
That is
also
so smart.
fucking lidocaine. How did that never ever occur to me?
No, never. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
I
it's
don't,
normalized, I guess.
right.
So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
also
That's
for the
such good
record,
advice.
for any people with IUDs or contemplating getting IUDs,
Oh,
because I mean, that
yeah.
is the most pain I've ever been in. That was not about a phobia.
Oh,
That was the most pain I've ever been in. And I know it was
I hear
different.
that.
You've had an IUD? You haven't?
I
You've
I
had,
have had and I actually had a dream last night that I had one and I was like, I
oh.
thought this sucked for me. I have had one, but it was after having William.
Yeah. And my
Um,
understanding is that makes a big difference.
yes, that is mine too. That my friends who have not given birth have had the same thing you said
Yeah.
to say about it, that
Yeah.
it's
Well,
terrible.
my male gynecologist at the time just
Yeah.
told me take 4 Advil first. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
I was I heard from a derby friend or something that they had an experience where they put some sort of numbing agent akin to lidocaine on the cervix before doing it,
Oh,
and that was effective.
huh.
And I talked to my gynecologist and I was like, when I have to get this out and get a new one, I don't want to be awake. And she's like, we can make that happen. You can be
Oh,
sedated. You will have to, because I was a nurse practitioner, but they were like, you'll have
uh-huh.
to see a actual gynecologist, have a consult. We'll have to get it done in a different area. We'll probably have to get
Hmm.
pre-authorization from your insurance. But she was like, generally insurance covers it because it's more expensive is a baby. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. Um so
Wow.
yeah, I'm gonna be sedated
Yeah.
if I get one again. So I just want to let other people know you don't just have to take 4 Advil and suck it up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And that numbing advice is both great advice. And I also want to caution people to not just randomly use any numbing product
oh yeah,
inside of themselves.
the doctor applied the numbing stuff.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Very yeah,
Just making sure.
don't pre-apply whatever,
Yeah.
goo you have laying around.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Bactine or
Yeah.
something.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I am planning to just look around and see if I have anything numbing to put on my arm because I don't know if they will at the
Sure.
doctor's office, but that's my
Yeah.
arm. It's,
Right. I'm
less
way less concerned
invasive.
about that. Yeah.
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 So anyway, just a little medical aside.
Yeah. Interesting. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the nurse is trying to give
Michael. Yeah.
Charlie a shot.
Poor Charlie.
And so we see Michael coming up behind the nurse with some sort of weapon.
And does he look just like Charlie? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Charlie, we suspect it's Michael here, goes up to his mom in the hospital waiting room and is
Hmm.
like, the doctor said I can leave. And the mom's is like, okay, we can go, but she clearly knows something's up.
Oh,
Like
okay. All
she
right.
clearly is
Good.
like,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And so Mulder and Scully see them leaving the parking lot and they're like, why are they leaving? And so they run into Charlie's room and he's still in his bed. And
Yeah.
the nurse or the doctor, whoever the medical practitioner
Yeah.
woman was,
Uh-huh.
is laying on the floor and kind of like, knocked down, and she says that the other boy hit her.
Oh, okay.
And so Mulder says he's going to go get help, and Scully is going to go to the house to follow
When
Maggie
you
and
said
Charlie.
that Maggie clearly knew something was up and
Hmm.
just was like, okay, it didn't occur to me she'd still actually leave with him. I thought she'd be like, okay, I just need to use the bathroom and then like double back and check or something. Like,
Well, she has a plan.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah. Um, so Mulder's going to get help, which does not mean the police. Heads up. Um,
Wait, he's gonna go get the Calusari, isn't he?
yes, he is. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
we see Maggie and Charlie at Michael at home, and he's asking to go to the park and can we go ride the train tomorrow?
Hmm.
Um,
Oh my God,
and
that's so horrible.
uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And it shows her grabbing some matches and being like, "Oh, I'll be right back," and walks out of the room. And she goes into the chanting room
Okay.
and lights some candles with the matches and starts to chant in Romanian. So I think her plan was like, "Sure, I'll bring him home, but then I'm going to do this ritual to,
Okay.
um, but Michael walks in as she's doing that. So Mulder has
Okay.
brought the Kalushari to the hospital, and they are performing a ritual dance. No, sorry, on Charlie. And he starts hissing. This is the part that, like, I think could have freaked me out when I was a teenager at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
It's very exorcisty where he's,
Yeah.
hissing and thrashing, and the water they're using starts boiling, and the walls
Hmm.
start dripping some sort of fluid, but it's not blood, and so I don't know what it is. Um,
Pepsi.
yeah. No, it's kind of orange. I don't know.
Okay. So
Fanta.
Fanta.
Yeah. Um, and it's clear that he's like, possessed or whatever. So Scully is at the house. She gets to the house and the windows are blown out and the lights are off and it's all creepy in there. And she finds Maggie kind of cowering on the floor, chanting in Romanian. And Scully is then thrown backwards by an unknown force against the
Okay.
window, and the window shatters and she kind of falls to the floor. And back at the hospital, things are still intense. And at one point, Mulder kind of like looks at Charlie, the boy, and
Hmm.
one of the Kalushari members is like, says something like, don't look at him, don't look him in the eyes. He'll know who you are, or something like that. And like the demon or whatever is possessing him.
Okay, I guess. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't know. I can look at someone without them looking me in the. All right, it doesn't matter. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
And I would just like to reiterate that this is all happening in a hospital room, which like just for how many of my friends work in the health profession, the idea of like, I don't know, this just happening, like they're just,
Yeah.
exercising some little boy, like walls are
Yeah.
dripping Fanta. It's just,
Oh,
like
I got confused in there, and I thought the walls were dripping Fanta in the house
no, in the hospital.
in the hospital. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. Uh, and finally, they draw a swastika on his chest in blood, and he calms down. And back at the
Okay.
house, like, so that happens. Then back at the house, Michael is about to stab his mom, and then everything goes calm and he
Okay.
disappears. So, like, the,
Okay.
the ritual worked, right?
Okay.
And so back at the hospital, the Kalushari guy tells Mulder that it's gone for now, but that he must be careful because now it knows him. And that's
Ooh.
it. That's the end of
Okay,
the
that is a creepy thing to end on, a creepy
Yeah,
sentence.
totally.
But I
Yeah.
really resent the idea that a stillborn baby is the same as a demon.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's the most succinct way to sum up the way they're treating this.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really, really makes me angry.
Because I
Uh-huh.
recently saw The Pope's Exorcist, which is
Oh, right.
not a
It's
great film.
bad.
It's real
Right.
bad, but that's why we saw it, is we were going to
Right.
see the podcast, How Did This Get Made? Do a
Right.
live podcast thing about it. Which was fantastic. Yeah, it's got like Russell Crowe playing an Italian exorcist who works for the Pope, and he
It is based on a true story, though, right?
I mean, yeah,
Oh, very
this
loosely.
guy, I mean, it's more that this guy it's based on seems like a crackpot. Like he
Oh, sure.
claims to have performed over 10,000 exorcisms, but then he specifies that there's often hundreds of demons in an individual person.
So
And
it's just
like,
like 10.
yeah, yeah. And like, yeah, the more he gets into the math, it's like, okay, so he's done it like 5 times. Yeah. Um, and he also was one of those people that had stuff to say about like Harry Potter being witchcraft and like, it's one of those we're in a weird place Harry Potter wise where I'm like, oh, you don't
I
like Harry
know.
Potter. Is
I
it
know.
is it for the reason that J.K. Rowling went off the deep end and is a turf and is hateful, or is it because
Right.
you're terrible and you think it's witchcraft? You know?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was it last summer or summer 22 maybe, I worked at like a kids science camp and
Yeah.
for a couple weeks, I think 2 weeks. And one of the girls who was part of my camp was this like super, she was awesome. She was like super uh polite, and she was like this petite little blonde girl. She was like a future April from Parks and Rec, because she was very unassuming, but then she also was super into reading, and then would just come out with these like super morbid things that she would
Ah,
say. These like really like, I don't know, talking about like how like, oh, I like graveyards too. And like, I don't know, just like these like really off-putting. She was awesome. She was
she
great.
was working at the camp or she was a kid at the camp?
No, no, yeah, she was like 9.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
she
awesome.
was eight
So
or
you
nine.
mean
Yeah.
she was like a younger version of April, not a future
Yes.
version. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a younger version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but so she was very well read, and she would always
Hmm.
read before camp
Uh-huh.
started. And one day she was reading Harry Potter, and I was like, "Oh, have you read that one before?" Whichever one it
Hmm.
was, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I've read them a couple times." And we were talking about it, and she's like, I love these books, but I don't like J.K. Rowling's politics." And I
That's
was like,
awesome.
yeah. And I was like, yeah, same here. Yeah.
That's
It's just,
awesome.
yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah, good for her. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Poor little
I
kid. I
felt like,
love it.
way to go, her parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Um,
So
so
anyway, the
that's
Pope's
it.
Exorcist. Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah, just like in that one, there's some very similar stuff because there's a
Hmm.
boy who's maybe, I don't know, 12 or something who's
Hmm.
possessed, and it's all, I mean, it's the same tropes. And like, and
Yeah.
there's even
Uh-huh.
something about looking them in the eye, and they do a pretty cool effect where you kind of see two pupils of like the demon inside him.
Ooh.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, Mostly it's a terrible movie, but in a pretty
Uh-huh.
fun, entertaining, terrible movie way. And
Okay.
I think, as I may have told you, it has Russell Crowe riding a Vespa from Rome to the middle of Spain, which is a very long distance to ride a Vespa. Um, and also, he's not a very convincing Italian.
I
But
believe it.
yeah. Anyway, but it's a demon. It's a demon, and that's kind of the whole point. Like, so it's
Right.
really,
Yes.
you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
like when you say it out loud, they are treating a child who died before birth
Hmm.
as a demon. Like that's
Hmm.
not okay. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
that's a pretty
No.
terrible concept for an
Yes, it
episode.
is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
it should have been about the real Calusari, who are secret acrobatic dancer society men.
Yeah, that would have been incredible. Yeah.
Just
And
like
I
with the
mean,
episode shapes, we should just rewrite that and
yes.
share about that plot next time.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, again, talking about, I think last time we talked about this and about the episode shapes and about rewriting something, we got on like a fan fiction tangent,
Yeah.
and got on some disturbing Property Brothers stuff.
Oh, the
Um,
Property Brothers fanfic. Yeah.
I cannot watch any of them anymore. That has
Oh,
ruined them
no.
for me.
No. Oh, no. I ruined Property Brothers
Yeah.
for you forever.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Which, to be fair, like they weren't my favorite anyway for a lot of reasons, but
It
like
wasn't like,
that was the last straw. That
okay.
was, yeah,
Oh my
yeah, that was
God. Oh, sorry.
it.
And I
Yeah.
won't reiterate the specifics of the
No,
fanfic in case
don't.
it would ruin it for someone else
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't need to know that. You can
No.
listen to our episode about shapes if you'd like
Yeah. Which
to
I think
be
is
filled in.
called Property Brothers fanfic.
Oh,
So,
yeah, it is
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up is F emasculata. Don't know what that is.
Yeah. I'm looking at like the one sentence summary and it is not at all familiar.
Ooh.
Quarantines a prison facility after a mysterious sickness proves lethal. Mulder
Hmm.
escapes escapees. If I had to guess, I thought F emasculata was about like a bug, like a mystery bug. I don't know.
I mean,
I
it
I
sounds
think
like a genus species. I mean, it sounds like a,
yeah.
yeah. Huh.
Yeah, so maybe that's it. I think I just keep thinking that episodes are about those glowing bugs. And I don't even remember. Maybe I already saw the glowing bug episode. I think we
Yeah, we
did,
did.
and I just
Yeah.
keep thinking it's going to be more glowing bugs. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, maybe one of these days.
Yeah, yeah. I'm ready for glowing bugs part 2.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time then.
Yeah. Follow us, all that stuff. We want to believe pod at gmail.com. Send us creepy stories.